Hello guys, welcome back to Royal Family Activity Channel. With their popularity plummeting around the world, it seems Meghan has finally realized that her tough and continued strategy of destroying the royal family may not have guessed their smartest move. Spotify doesn't support both, and it looks like Netflix and red flags are up. There are rumors that Harry ordered Netflix to remove all footage of his Hard from a Victim documentary with documentary needs to be res hot. Oh my god. What's that desperate Duchess going to? Well, as we all know, her truth will be revealed again, especially since its latest news is that Meghan Markle is trying to distance herself from having anything to do with Harry's backup book. But would it be too late? So everyone probably already knows that Harry barely. Are we supposed to believe it's really? I don't think so, and its ghostwriter would need the help of both to be able. He's a writer after all, not a wizard. Meghan, purveyor of her own truth now, claims she didn't micromanage Harry when writing spare parts, but rather chose to step back and let him carry on. If anyone believes that, then I guess we have nothing more to say. If anyone believes that Meghan wasn't very into writing spares, then I have a fantastic beachfront property in New Mexico for. There is, however, a question to which they edit in Harry or Netflix ordered them to remove Meghan, and it seems almost everyone in the world has realized that Meghan is a complete manipulative fraud. She tries to post another version of her truth in an attempt to counter this fact. But it won't work because too many. We know he's been dominating these. She met him, and moreover at this meeting. I don't think I could come up with a worse planning and execution case than. I mean, they did when the global pandemic was the first initiation that will go down in history as the worst idea ever. And now writers and actors are going on strike in Hollywood. Seems that the Edward VII and Wallace saga also didn't come close to this real disaster. As far as I know, even though Edward and Wallace were accused of no one ever really accused them of being liars, or Edward and Wallace had certainly made their own beds and they didn't mind scary tears. Have no one to blame but no one, though. Now, to be fair, he's trying to blame Harry for their disappearance. No, that was all that belonged to Harry. Well, considering the big mess they're in right now, I'm not surprised, he says. Meanwhile, her driveway is desperately. They're trying to set Meghan Markle apart, but I'm afraid they're too late. Good luck. Meghan Markle is obviously her. In fact, that's an understatement. She's actually everyone's worst enemy who has ever dealt with her, and then I don't think anyone just looks at what he did to Harry, and once the age of guilt can hit rock bottom, it's a long. I suspect the two are discovering that rebuilding bridges is essentially. They both tried, and unfortunately for intelligence, they underestimated people's ability to understand that there are a few crooks and scammers out there, and then Harry goes to Africa so he can pretend to care about them. Quite ironic, since Meghan Markle acted so horribly there if they were actually dancing in the street when the two got. Oh, I'm excited to see what they do next. We're all waiting for karma to manifest. And it seems like it's knocking on the. But the only thing we are waiting for is a definitive source on the invisible. We need a few questions answered. Do they have Harry's DNA? If they are real, it is extremely important that we release this information immediately. And that the Queen knew Meghan would be the architect of her own downfall, and why she told the family, especially Charles and William, to hold back and keep their powder dry. Could be explained by the fact that the Queen had He met all types of personalities. He knew Meghan and Harry were a mess. Unfortunately, no action could be taken. The Queen played along and gave them more than enough rope to hang themselves. Now Charles continued with the strategy, because he could see it was clearly. And other news, there is another little. Why are so many people saying Elton John? I don't think there's any hate in Olive. He was incredibly good friends with the late Diana, Princess of Wales, and was obviously supportive when the marriage fell apart. Sure, he was very affected when she died now, as many did back then. But they have carried out a thorough investigation into the death, and the findings clearly show that their driver caused the accident because he loved. She felt very sorry for Harry when he was a child, and it seems she decided to do all she could for Harry until Harry and Meghan upset Elson recently by bashing him during a flight in one of his private jets. They are upset. The conversation was recorded, and since they are no longer friends, I think Elton overheard it would be so much better for Alton if he could just get on with his life instead of getting involved in other people's business for the sake of his health and his happy the life. I remember long ago when John Versus created a fashion book called. This book was made to help raise funds for the Elton John's AIDS Foundation, and the late Princess of Wales was supposed to write the foreword to the book, but Elton believed he decided he didn't, because the palace didn't want a member involved in the book. It contained some. According to Elton's biography, they reconciled when she called him after their mutual friends were murdered. She apologized for their falling out and asked, please, could they be friends again? And that was only a few weeks before he. Does he still hold the royal family responsible, or is it the palace he believes responsible? I don't know. Maybe one, maybe both, but does he still? Of course I can't say for sure, but apparently she has a thing for William. And if people ask, because they believe he snubbed the coronation gig. Let's remember he was reportedly touring outside the UK at the time, and so it's not like he could actually attend. As far as we know, he and Diana were their friendship was very important, and it must have been incredibly painful for him to see what it brought to him and the shame it brought to his memory, and King Charles let him off the hook. It makes people stick with his memory. Although I don't believe for a second that Elton John hates the royal family. Now Harry is a grown man, but at the same time he is a grown man with an admitted drug addiction problem, and that often leads to some pretty stupid decisions. Certainly even in adulthood, when we find ourselves in difficulty, it is reasonable for a parent to offer practical help. But King Charles just throwing a lot of money at this problem Harry is struggling with isn't going to help him. Even adult children sometimes have to turn to their parents for help. And that doesn't really answer the. I mean, how do we know that Elton John hates the whole royal family? Hate is actually a very bad thing to accuse. So, unless we have definitive proof, let's. Thank you.